The Icelandic budget airline WOW Air ceases operations. Icelandic budget airline WOW Air says it has ceased operations, stranding passengers across two continents. All right, so the Icelandic budget airline WOW Air ceased operations on Thursday, stranding passengers across two countries. In a statement on its website, the airline, which had earlier suspended all its flights, told passengers there would be no further flights and advised them to check flights with other airlines for ways to reach their destination. The airline, founded by entrepreneur Scully Mogensen, began operations in 2012 and specialized in ultra-cheap flights between North America and Europe. I remember when WOW Air came to the States and everybody was all excited. They're like, we have a low-cost carrier similar to Ryanair now in the States. This is going to be so groovy. I was stoked about it. I never got to use WOW Air, and obviously I never will now. All right, let's see what else is going. Its bankruptcy comes after 6 months of turbulent negotiations, pun intended, of turbulent negotiations complete with a little bit of cabin pressure to sell the low-cost carrier, first to its main rival and flagship carrier Icelandair, and later to Indigo Partners, an American company operating the airline Wizz. Because that's what you want when you Wizz. That's what you want when you think of air travel. You think just like a big stream of piss just going across the air. All right, what else? So the CEO goes, I will never forgive myself for not acting sooner. Mogensen said in a letter to employees Thursday, WOW was an incredible airline, and we were on path to do amazing things. Tourism is Iceland's largest industry, and WOW's disappearance is said to have an effect on this summer's high season. They could say, hey, we're getting rid of the airline. Wow. Hey, we're getting rid of the airline. Wow. We're getting rid of the airline. Wow. Any one of those things. WOW Airline. And this has been very difficult. I've seen things on Twitter. There's bands that spent their entire tour itinerary on on WOW Air. Like their entire itinerary was going to be via WOW Air, and they lost all that money. Because I've seen things on the blogosphere. People aren't always getting refunds in all the cases. In fact, I don't know who is and isn't getting refunds. This is breaking now. But some people aren't. And now they're stranded. And this kind of makes you think, gee, maybe completely deregulating the airlines and not making them follow any type of rules and procedures whatsoever wasn't a good thing. That maybe was bad. Maybe we shouldn't have done that. You know, when you talk about air travel, when you're making the case for better policy that suits people, you can really make some connections, no pun intended, when you use air travel. You guys remember my story from Christmas Day? So Christmas Day, my fiance and I went to this, it was actually an IHOP. It was the only thing that was open on Christmas Day near us. So we went to our local IHOP for lunch because we had plans, but we didn't have them until dinner. And we had like no food in the house because we had this big blowout meal on Christmas Eve. You guys know I do the 7 fish thing. So we did that big thing on Christmas Eve. And Christmas Day, we didn't have any food in the house. So we had to go somewhere for lunch because we were like, we got to eat before dinner. So anyway, we're there and there's this guy there. And we start talking about the environmental issues. He noticed my hat, which was for the Prop G, which was a pot amendment. But we started talking about the environment. He was talking about how he's a big environmentalist because, like politics came up. And after he tells me he's a big environmentalist, he goes, by the way, I'm a Trump supporter, which was weird right there. That was very weird, going, hey, I'm a big environmentalist. I'm also a Trump supporter. That's like being like, hey, I'm a big vegan. I hunt rhinos for fun. Like it was just a weird that was where he went. But I said, okay, that's odd. I'm not sure I know how that adds up. And he expressed his frustration with the two-party system, which I understood that. I was like, well, I certainly share those frustrations with you. I don't think Trump's the answer. And he said, yeah, I thought Trump, I don't like Trump is what he said, but I kind of felt like, and I'm like, well, all right. So Airlines came up. And he talked about how, why don't we in the LA area utilize the other regional airports more? Like, why don't we do more in Burbank? Why don't we do more in Ontario? Why don't we spread stuff out more? And I said, look, it's all about the profit margin. The airlines want to go where they can make the most money. There's no protections for consumers, so they can just kind of do whatever they want. And he goes, yeah, man, that's not right. And I'm like, don't you wish there was some more oversight on these airlines? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, what if we, as a city, could vote on how air travel is distributed? What if there was some city planning involved and what these airlines could do, and they had to report to the city? And he'd be like, that'd be awesome. And this is what I'm talking about, man. This is a common sense solution. This isn't a right-wing or a left-wing idea. And then I stopped him, and I was like, actually, buddy, I wasn't going to mention this, but since you brought it up, that's actually a very left-wing idea, what I just threw at you. That's a very left-wing idea. And we made a connection, if you will. And so, anyway, the complete deregulations of these airlines was not a good thing, because now you see stuff like this where they can just say, hey, we're out of business. Sorry. There should be some type of protection there where you have to honor every ticket that's been purchased within a certain amount of time. I understand if someone has a ticket 6 months from now and the company goes belly up, you're like, hey, you're going to have to get a new flight. You have 6 months to do it. That's one thing. But leaving people stranded, literally stranded at the airport because you're just like, hey, our company's not a thing anymore, that shouldn't be allowed. That there should not be something that allows that to happen. There should be a protection in place that airlines are required to honor those flights, or other airlines need to cooperate together to get these people to reach their destinations. And then they work it out, making whoever whole, whichever company whole. But there should be a consumer protection that exceeds, what the company is and isn't able to do. I mean, there should be some type of protectionary fund for a situation like this. The point is, the airlines are completely deregulated. They can do essentially whatever they want. And, I mean, we're regulated heavier than ever before. Passengers, a lot of regulation there. TSA cracking down more than ever before. But as far as what the airlines can actually do, they can do whatever they want. They report to nobody. That's why you see shittier service becoming the norm, more fees becoming the norm, because they cooperate with each other. So, WOW Air shouldn't be able to do this. Period. They should not be able to do this. People are literally stranded at airports. They're stuck at airports. There should be some type of oversight that something like this isn't permissible by law. Again, if you have a flight months from now, okay, you can, get a refund, reschedule your flight. That's one thing. But you're at the airport. Hey, the airline's not a thing anymore. Gee, I guess I might want to go to the Chili's here at this gate because the airline I was flying isn't a thing anymore. That's a real thing that you would think if you were like on a flight with your buddies or something, and you go, hey, go check on the flight, and your buddy comes back, hey, turns out the airline we were gonna do not a thing. You would think your buddy was messing with you. You'd be like, shut up, man. What's the deal with the flight? Nope, that's a real thing that can happen. WOW Air.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your